Hey, Shalom. All right, first and foremost, want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekak Wadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. What you've been seeing the past couple of years is the Lord is orchestrating things to where the flock, all right, those who are seeking this truth and sincerity, to where they can discern between who the Lord is actually dealing with and speaking through. Okay? Reason being why. The main thing you're going to notice is that the prophets, like it says in Revelation, the 19th chapter, are going to be occupied primarily with prophecy. Let's read this, okay? This is Revelation 19 and 10, and we bring up this point all the time. It says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. So John the Revelator, he's having an encounter with an angel. All right, Revelation 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant. All right. We're co-workers. That's what he was telling John. That they're in their bodies and we're here in the chains of darkness, but we all have a position within the Lord's ministry. Okay. Different stations. Okay. Continuing on, it says, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua, worship God. For the testimony of Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, is the spirit of prophecy. So the true men of the Lord, they're going to be occupied in prophecies. They're going to be watching out for the signs of the times. They're going to be going into what's happening in the earth. They're going to be going into the destruction and how it's going to manifest here. They're going to be sighing and crying for the abominations being done in the midst thereof. They're not going to be in the spirit of trying to build here. Now, at the same time, you're going to have jobs. You're going to handle things, here on this side. But you're not invested in it to where it takes precedence over the mission. Let's continue down this line of prophecy, right? Let me go to, give me 1 second. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. And we'll just start here at the top. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, because they're going to be, the men of the Lord and those that are sincere are going to be looking out for the signs of the times. Okay? And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we've seen much of the prophecies take place. There's a few more that have to take place before all hell breaks loose. Okay? And, the kingdom of heaven gets established. This devil's kingdom is circling the drain. It's irreversible. Anybody that doesn't see it, man, they don't have the spiritual eye. Okay? Those who the Lord is actually dealing with and actually revealing things to, they're going to be looking out for the signs of times. They're going to be looking out for prophecy. And that's why when people come up to the camp and they try to, they want to scoff, they want to go into topics, there's really two questions you should ask them. One, do they believe in the scriptures? And two, do they know how this kingdom is going to be destroyed and how to escape it, how to escape that destruction? Because right there, it sets the precedence for what our mission is, what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve salvation. You have a bunch of people who know about this Israelite thing, but they're not focused on what the main goal is. We're trying to be delivered out of this place and to be that first batch of Israelites that gets to be in the kingdom and forward righteousness in the earth, rulership. But you have a lot of people who know they're Israelites, and that's not their focus. They don't really know what they're a part of, and they don't know, okay, where they fit in within forwarding that mission. Everybody has different gifts, a different part, like it talks about administrations. And actually, let me go get it. I believe it's in bear with me. So everybody has their different gifts on which the Lord has imparted them to them so they can help forward this mission. All right, and there's a particular way depending on, who you are, on how you can help for the mission. Some brothers, they're great Hebrew guys, so they can go into the Hebrew. So brothers they might go find out about particular words, so we can start piecing things together. Okay. You have other brothers who are well off into the history. When particular topics come up, they could go into such detail to where the scriptures now become irrefutable. You have some brothers who are just great orators. You have some guys who are precept guys. You have some guys who are, brothers who are behind the scenes. They put videos and stuff together. They do stuff for the camps, things that you don't see. We always make that point about the body. Everybody, you see a person's face when you first meet them. And that's important. You got brothers who are in the forefront and they do beautiful work, right? But when you see a person for the first time, you don't see their kidney. It's not in the forefront. It's not noticed. But it is deadly important. Without that kidney, that person can't live. Without the vital or there's everybody has their part within the body. Even those who are tuning in, who are listening. Everybody has there's things that you could do to help. You know, you got some brothers who make garments. You got brothers who make tinctures and do particular things. It's all whatever your gift is, you got to nurture it in this walk and help forward the mission. And while at the same time being aware of what's going on in the earth, you know, so that you could, be on those chariots when the time comes. Like it talks about in Zephaniah 2 and 3, seek righteousness, seek meekness, so that you may be hidden the day of the Lord's anger. But this is 1 Corinthians 12, just to go into the body, okay? And you'll see like how all these different functions and how we fall into these different functions is all for the purpose of getting to the end of our mission, okay? This is 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles, all right, because our people were scattered into other lands, acting as Gentiles, taking on those other customs. The Apocrypha is important because you need that history to understand how Israel became Gentiles, how they were Hellenized by the Greeks. That's why the scriptures specifically go into neither Jew nor Greek. It's specifically taught. Why does it say specifically that? Because Israelites, that was a big part of our history, as being Hellenized by the Greeks. It's a big part of our history of many of our people, Judas Maccabees and his family, standing up and saying, no, we're not going to be Hellenized. But when you just go from the Old Testament and you skip that history and you jump straight to the time of Yahweh Shai, a lot of time has passed and there's a lot of dots that can't be connected if you don't have that portion. Okay. And I know, most of you listening, you already know that, but I made it a goal of mine to speak as though, I'm speaking to a person that knows absolutely nothing. Because there's a lot of people waking up who this might be the first video they watch. So, try to drop as many nuggets as possible. But this is 1 Corinthians 12:2 again. It says, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto those dumb idols, even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Yahweh Shai cursed, and that no man can say that Yahweh Shai is the Lord, but by the Holy Spirit, like it talks about in John 15, where the scriptures say, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Nobody can actually comprehend what the scriptures are talking about unless the Lord opens that door of understanding. So when you first get this truth, a lot of times you'll find yourself in situations where you're like trying to explain it to somebody and you want them to get it really bad. Like you could do it of your own strength. When in all actuality, hey, the Lord has to open that door. And we've been given our arena in which to teach the highways and byways and on the unicorn. Now, if somebody, if you deal in the spirit, if somebody is mentioning something, you might mention something to them. Like they bring up a topic, they say, "Oh man, how did it's." Let me think of an example that's probably common. Somebody might bring up, hey, yeah, man, The Lord coming back, man. He ain't gonna like what he see. Yeah, the scriptures talk about it. America's in that conversation. You might throw a nugget out there, but that's really just the best place for the word to come out is through the mouth of the prophets and the arena in which we were given to teach, the chief places of concourse, and obviously on this unicorn. But it's especially right now, it's not the best time. You just at the barbershop or in the grocery store at your job, just to be letting people know what you know, because this devil's getting ready to criminalize anybody who speaks against the status quo. There's an article I shared in the chat yesterday, um, because of a commercial I seen. A commercial they were running. It's a website called Shine a Light On. Let me actually go look it up. I got the link in the chat. I shared it yesterday. Elder Yashawama did a lesson on it. If you guys caught that lesson, he opened the video with the website where they're encouraging people to report anyone they know or come across that speaks ill will of the so-called JOOs over there in the Holy Land. To report them. What is that going to lead to? That's going to lead to it being criminalized. At the World Economic Forum, they already made the point that they want to, completely shut down disinformation, that people shouldn't go do their own research. This has been a talking point for the elites. The website is called shinealighton.com. Okay? And I'm on my phone right now, so I can't share it with you guys. But let me see. I'm gonna copy this link, and then I'm gonna go put it on the comment board. So if you want to open it up in a different tab, you can. Now this website had a commercial initially. All right, yeah, there we go. So this website had a commercial initially that I just put on the comment board, saying, "Hey, we got to put a stop to anti-Semitism." So if you click that link or you go to that website, when you open it up, it'll say "Shine a light on anti-Semitism." Okay. I mean, it's loading on my screens here, so just give me a second. It says "Dispel the darkness, the hatred of Jews." Okay, Shine a Light is a national initiative to spotlight modern-day anti-Semitism, including it switched up on me, including anti-Zionism. It draws inspiration from the story of Hanukkah, the festival of lights. Look at these. To champion the message that one small light can dispel darkness and hatred. When really, man, this devil's the one that pushes hatred in the earth. Look what they're doing over there in the Holy Land, in Gaza. When you look at the opposing side, the people that they're saying are bad, all they want is a ceasefire. They want a ceasefire. But it's deemed as negative, or they're deemed as wicked because they want, the families to stop being bombed, the children to stop being put to death. You see, when the true Israelites go back to the Holy Land, like it reads in Micah 4, the nations aren't going to be learning war anymore. When you go to the book of Jeremiah, the scriptures tell you that when the true Israelites go back to the Holy Land, that it's going to be greater than the deliverance that happened in Egypt. Now that Balfour Declaration, how they built the state of Israel, did that outdo the deliverance in Egypt? No, it didn't. Not at all. So if you're a person that truly believes in this book, you got to ask yourself the question, could these be the people if they don't fit the description or the prophecies of how, the Lord said things would take place? I believe this book. So if I believe it, by default, these people, they can't be the people. And that's coming, it's coming even more so to light, man. So the lies that they've been spinning for years are not only being dispelled by us, but it's being dispelled by low-level Edomites. Because you got to keep in mind, man, this temporary, when the blessing was given to Jacob and Esau, Esau's blessing was temporary. And the heads of Edom, they haven't been sharing this blessing with the ordinary white person. They're going through the same shit we're going through. They can't buy a house either. They're a little better off than us, but they're struggling just the same. And this devil plays to make slaves out of them just the same. So what you have is you have a bunch of Edomites popping up, telling on, oh, they're doing this and whistleblowers. And then they can see that this devil, the chief tribe Amalek, right, and the banking families, that they have no uh, intentions of sharing the wealth. So they're a house divided, and the scriptures tell you what a house divided cannot stand. Okay, but yeah, so I brought up that site to you guys, just to back up my point that now is not the time. You got to be wise with who you speaking to, wise with who you. A lot of and you got like we always say, a lot of those Israelites in other camps who wear their fringes everywhere they go. There's nothing wrong with wearing your fringes everywhere you go, but you got to understand that we're behind enemy lines, the same way Joshua was behind enemy lines, right? So you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. You got to know how to maneuver, and it's going to come a time where, and it's coming soon, where we're going to be out. We're going to be made out to be, the terrorists. We're going to be made out to be what's wrong with this country. We're going to be made out to be problem number one, like the I forgot her name, the that Zionist administrator that had that conference in Atlanta that said the number one problem for Israel is the young black community in America. She was talking about those of the Great Awakening, those who are waking up to the fact that they're Israelites. That's going to be made a public initiative in the times to come. So this is a warning. Be careful with how you're moving, who you speak to, because there's going to come a time, man, where it might be a reward to give up somebody. It might be you might get an extra food or rations or some kind of credits to give up somebody who knows or speaks out against Babylon the Great and the so-called white man. So you got to be careful. At the end of the day, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. If the Lord's with you, He's gonna protect you regardless. But use wisdom whenever you can, and don't bring unnecessary strife upon yourself where it need not be. Now let's go back to 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. Okay, and we're at verse 3. It says, "Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Yahushua cursed, and that no man can say that Yahushua is the Lord but by the Holy Spirit." Right? The Lord has to open that door of understanding. Verse 4. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. So you gotta, and me and Elder Menashe Zakba, this is the term right here. Me and Elder Menashe Zakba would also often say, for all the listeners, for all those of the 1/3 and people that need to be edified, there's a prophet for every demographic, for every Israelite from every walk of life to relate to. Even though we all speak the same thing as we're commanded in 1 Corinthians 1 and 10, there's a man of the Lord that each of you are drawn to, maybe more so than others, that it resonates with how this brother brings it out. But we're all saying the same thing, you see. But we all have diversities of gifts, different things that we kind of key in and lock in on, and every brother is needed. Every brother is needed. Some brothers have 1,000 views on their page every video. Some brothers might have 5. But those 2 people that listen, they matter. They're part of the body. They're needed. And the angels are recording everything, right? The scriptures tell you that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Now let's continue on here. Verse 4. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but it's the same God which worketh all in all. Okay, and the Elder Menatezak, not Menatezak, but the Elder Yazazak, he'll say, you can't be a thumb trying to do eye shit. You need your thumbs, you need your eyes. But, what you were called to be, your role, your strengths, thrive in your strengths. All right. Verse 7. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith. All right. The elder Arianazi, GMS Lions Den, constantly goes into faith and makes it so plain and shows you the importance of how faith is the unlocking to growth in our walk, man. When you really have the courage to lean and believe on the Lord and understand, hey, He didn't bring me here just to leave me out here. I'm gonna walk by faith. That confidence in the Lord. That's the access, to glory to glory, faith to faith. The scriptures even tell you, what does Yahweh Shai say? Let's actually go get it. Find faith on the earth. When He comes back, He's gonna be looking for something. And what is He gonna be looking for? Let's get it real quick. This is Luke 18, and I'll start at verse 7. It says, and shall not God avenge His own elect? It's always about the elect, which cry day and night, like it talks about in Ezekiel 9:4. All right? The elect are going to be sighing and crying for the abominations being done in the midst thereof. All right? And shall not God avenge His own elect, which cry day and night unto Him, though He bear long with them? I tell you that He will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall He find faith on the earth? The Lord is going to be looking for faith. All right? So now let's go back to 1 Corinthians 12. Okay? Verse 9. 1 Corinthians 12 and 9. To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. So you need all these different people with all these different talents that the Lord deals with them in. Okay? So that we have all the members of the body so that we can function. So everybody's, needed. And this is a point I've been harping on. I don't know if people need, clearly somebody needs to hear it. Okay? We all are striving for the same thing, but you have your own strengths. You don't have to mimic or try to be like somebody else to show competence. That's it's a low level mindset. Shit, our people in the world do that. And our people, shit, and some of y'all probably still do it in the world a little bit. You get around these so-called white people, you put on that white voice. You don't have to put your white voice on to show competence, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to show like, oh, I'm not just some low level nigga. I'm intelligent. I'm capable. You can still be yourself. You could be. They're not the standard of righteousness or intelligence or beauty. But we grew up in this captivity, and that's what was fed to us, that lie. So if you can, man, stop doing that. I walked by a nigga woman today at work, and she gave me, hey, the hey, where she's like, oh, I gotta say hey because I'm walking. But then she ran into some white dude behind me. Oh, hey, Mr. And I was just like, damn. I was like, I know she's not like. I was just like, why do our people? It's just something that just don't sit right. If people got that feeling where they got to tap dance. Stop that shit, man. Okay. Verse 10, 1 Corinthians 12 and 10. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits. To another, diverse kinds of tongues. To another, interpretation of tongues. And all these different things are going to come into their fullness, man, as we transition into the next phase. Okay. It's about to be a beautiful thing to see, man. Yeah, driving. Didn't get a chance to do the Tuesday camp tonight. So I said, let me just cut this camera on while I'm on the road, man, and hop in a little something. But I'm bringing out a couple more precepts, and I'll wrap it up there. I started the video off with Revelation 10 and 9. Okay. So I never finished that. I don't think I ever finished it. So let me go back to the Revelation 10 and 10. It says, this is when John the Revelator had the encounter with the angel, and he told him to eat the little book. I'm actually starting at verse 9, Revelation 10 and 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up. The little book, of course, is the scriptures. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth as sweet as honey. Now, when you eat something, it's first in your mouth, right? So it's saying in your mouth is sweet as honey. You find out you're an Israelite. You find out you have the royal lineage, that you got a kingdom waiting on you. But when it gets in your belly and you digest the fullness of what we're a part of, you realize the state that our people are in now. All right, verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up. And it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Okay, so there you go. So the elect are going to be sighing and crying for the abominations being done in the midst of them. They're going to be speaking out against America. Okay, they're going to be occupied in prophecy. They're not going to be trying to have a piece of Esau's pie in this kingdom when we were promised a bakery. Come on, baby. Let's go to, I'm going to wrap this up with Jeremiah 28 and 8. Let's see here. So just cut on the camera, man, and just go. Jeremiah 28 and 8. Leave you with this. All right, and the brothers in Chicago, I think they pretty much start every camp off with this scripture. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries. All right, and we're prophesying against the country we're in, the last great nation. All right, Babylon the Great, which sits at the head of this beast, and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. Okay, and America embodies all those things to the furthest extent. So yeah, man, paying attention to the prophecies is what the elect are going to be primarily honed in on. Okay, because that's the spirit of our big brother Yahweh Shai, as we read in the beginning, Revelation 19 and 10. Okay, so kind of get a pulse, on what Israelites are primarily, going into, what they, because, hey man, we're getting to a point in time where if you're not completely sure on the things you need to be sure on, it could cost you everything, which, our primary focus is salvation. So with that being said, Abarat's out. The lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.